What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Real Word Podcast, a place where real thoughts, real ideas, and real words come to life. I'm your host, Drew, coming from San Diego, California. Thank you for stopping by, tuning in, checking out the channel. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, and hit up those links down below. And now, let's get into the episode. Let's get into a little wake and bake. I do have this Jack Herrera here. The same stuff from the other day. It's pretty good. So we'll get that going, get that started. I don't have really too many topics that I want to go over. There's a couple things that I saw and kind of want to update on and kind of go over, but nothing, no real formula, no real format or anything like that. Just gonna keep it loose, keep it up in the air, see what I get to, what I remember, and yeah, that's kind of it. And just get into it like that. Hope everybody's 420 was good. Smoking. I didn't do too much. I did the early morning podcast and then was talking to one of my buddies. He called, talking with him and my dad on the phone for a little bit. And then me and my buddy Zach from the No World Order podcast, we did a little Instagram live. So that was cool. That was at like 10:30. Went for about an hour doing that. And then, yeah, not much else after that. I was tired because I had woke up really early, so I just kind of took it easy. Had a little smoke throughout the day here and there, but it wasn't really too much different than a regular day that I normally go through. Maybe a little bit heavier on the smoking, but not too much. Ugh. I think it's just always cold in here, and that's why my nose gets so runny. It's annoying. But it's all good. So get this Jack packed up, take a couple snaps, smoke a couple of these bowls, and yeah, man, cheers. Gotta keep that 420 rolling. It is still April 2020, so it's still 420. So cheers, everybody. Yeah. So what did I want to get into first? There's a couple things, but I guess we can start out local. So it seems like here in California, I'm not sure how local, but it seems like certain businesses, certain parks, certain things are going to be let open again. I did see like barbers and hairstylists and all of that are going to be opening up. Certain parks opened up again. Which it all seems like it's a good thing, that's for sure. That seems like a good thing. We'll see how many people decide to end up going back to work or what happens with that whole situation. I fear, I don't mean to be the fearful person or whatever, but I just think that this could be a ploy for them to, yeah, let's start getting back. This is what you guys wanted, right? And then they'll start manipulating the numbers again and say we have another outbreak or something, and next thing you know, we're on an even more strict lockdown, and they got to take it more serious because we let people get back to work, and then, there was a bigger outbreak. So that's kind of what I fear, is that they're doing this to kind of do something later and further along, like a little bit later. So just pay attention to that. I know there's been a lot of weird connections between Bill Gates and the World Health Organization and the CDC. I think a bunch of emails have just been leaked from Bill Gates, and it's not looking good for him, man. Me and Zach were talking about this the other day, just how manipulative that guy is. There was that picture of him reading a book, and the stack of books next to him, on the top one, it's How to Lie with Statistics. And it's like, what is the mainstream media doing to us? They're trying to put fear into us with these numbers, with statistics, and trying to, control us that way. And then when you see a picture like that in a book like that, How to Lie with Statistics, and he's kind of being the face of what's going on right now, and you kind of look into his background and how he's not even qualified to be doing this kind of stuff, it just I don't know, man. And then someone was over, one of my dad's friends was over, and she showed me this thing that he just got this new boat, like, but it's not a boat, it's like a battleship, and it's all eco-friendly and stuff. But man, it's like, I asked, when did he get this? When did he buy this? Because I think that kind of matters. I don't know when that was actually purchased and how new it really is, but for him to benefit off of what's going on, and then just kind of be able to go cruise the world in a boat. I don't know. There's just a lot that doesn't sit well with me regarding that guy. And, it just seems like any positive momentum that people have made or have shown to kind of have been working, the mainstream just doesn't really talk about it, and kind of shuts those people out, and doesn't give them a platform. And these people have to kind of make their voices heard on their own, and kind of carve out their own platform and their own niche. And it's I even struggle with it, because it's like, how do you trust people? How do you find a source? How do you find a reliable source? And how do you vet them? And it's just it's a process. And that's why, honestly, I I listen to the podcasts, I listen to the entertainment that I listen to, I watch the shows I watch, and it is what it is. Like, I try not to get too deep into the conspiracies, ooh, that word, and all of that anymore, because it's hard to navigate through, and it becomes overwhelming. And you can find, like, I'm not saying I don't believe it, because I do to an extent, like, but when you look into these things, and you could find a connection between everything, and if that's true, then it's like, okay, what can we really do besides maybe talk about it, bring it up, do what we can in that aspect? But what can we really do? So it just becomes really overwhelming. It's like, you can learn about your rights, you can learn about all these conspiracies, you can do all this stuff, but if they want to take you down, if they want to, like, fuck with you or put you in jail or whatever, they will find a reason, and they will do it, even if it's against the law and not constitutional on their end. So it's like, they don't really care what happens and what they do, but you have to care and be aware of what you do, or else you can get in trouble. And I don't know, man. It's frustrating. It is frustrating, but I want to go see if the park not too far away from here had opened back up, because I did like going and running there. And I haven't been running lately, and I've barely been working out again, and it's just been kind of that, been getting in that mindset again, which is unfortunate, and I'm feeling it, and I know I need to break that again, and I need to get back to feeling good, breaking a sweat, get back to drinking those smoothies again, yeah, man, I just got to take care of me, take care of myself, and not focus too much on what's going on. But, it is good that some of these businesses will open up. But again, I don't know. I think it could be for something worse down the line. And that's what I worry about. Um, but we've already seen the numbers being manipulated. You can go look it up yourself. And there was a hot mic on, and one of these reporters I believe it was like a White House briefing or something like that. And one of the reporters was saying, communicating with somebody. I don't know who the interaction was between, but it stated it was between a reporter and someone else. And basically that the numbers were almost half of what they initially said, and then that they've already been all vaccinated, and that the numbers and the mortality rate initially presented was basically a hoax. I mean, you can go find this video. It was just released. They'll probably make it a little harder to find now. They'll probably shadow ban it and stuff like that. But it is out there. I did see it. I did like it on Instagram. So, and one of my buddies Zach sent it to me. And yeah, so it's out there. You can see it. You can do a little digging. But again, it's hard to just be up on all of this. I don't spend all my time anymore focusing on exposing or digging for the truth. Like, if anything, I'll watch like Tinfoil Hat podcast, and that's kind of where I get my conspiracy fill in. And I always have this mindset. I'm never trusting of the government. I'm not believing of the mainstream media. It's just I've been into the truth movement and all of this for so long now, like for so long, and just dealing with different conspiracy theories and ranging from all over the place, man. From celebrity deaths to flat earth to natural healing to JFK assassination to 9/11 to dinosaurs aren't real. To forests aren't real. There's so many things that I've kind of encountered along the way. And it just really does become overwhelming. And it is interesting because when you watch some of these videos and documentaries, and when you're diving into these topics, each one of these topics has a specialist who has kind of like dedicated their life to this. And they're not really into any other conspiracies because that's the one they chose and that's the one they put their life into. And it's like, I understand why someone would want to do that, because if you are bouncing all over the place trying to find a connection here, you'll burn yourself out. And I'm not saying that's what happened with me, but it's just like your brain starts doing that and trying to like make a connection everywhere, and it's at some point you just kind of got to turn it off because you are becoming too aware, and you can kind of see the games they're playing, see what's happening. You can predict the numbers that are going to be showing, and yeah, it just becomes a little much. So I have to take a step back, but I get a feeling, like I said, from watching podcasts, and then me and Zach, we're kind of like-minded that way. He seems to be a little more into doing more research right now and trying to get to the bottom of it. And, I think that's a good balance for us to have on our podcast. So make sure to check that out, the No World Order podcast and the playlist. And, yeah, I just think it's a good balance between us because he's so like into doing the research right now. He has a book of topics and things that, it's all, and that's the funny thing, because a lot of people say these are conspiracy theories, but it's like when you look into it, no, they're factually based. Honestly, like a lot of these theories have documents and things to kind of back it up. So I never understood why they call it conspiracy theory or conspiracy theorists, because it's like usually they're backed by facts and evidence and physical proof. So I don't it's yeah, like I said, it's a game they play. It's a frustrating thing. It seems like you can never get ahead, but we try. We try, and yeah, I do think it's a good balance between Zach and myself to kind of one who's super into it and kind of doing a lot of the research, and one who's kind of been super into it, is now kind of taking a step back and can still look at it from an unbiased point of view, as far as like open-minded, I guess I should say, and still be able to kind of I don't discount it, when topics are brought up. The one thing I don't necessarily believe, take serious, but it's something I haven't really dug too deep into, because I don't know what to trust with it. I don't know where the real source is. I just don't know. I really don't know. I don't know how to operate in these types of circles. I really don't. So the whole Q thing, I don't know. I'm not really buying it. And that's just my opinion. I mean, I don't know much. But again, like I said, I don't know where any factual information is coming from. It seems like everything's always super vague from what I've seen. And it's like people try to make these connections when something happens. Oh, see, it was predicted. And it's like, how can you make that connection when it's like super vague? I feel, yeah, if you're going to have this message, just be direct. Don't be so cryptic about it, especially if you're already anonymous and have this clearance or whatever it is that they're supposed to be. If you already have this protection and you are able to stay anonymous, I just feel you should be more direct and straightforward. And that's my opinion. Like, just stop with the bullshit. And that's just my opinion. I mean, I don't trust it. I don't buy it. I don't know if there's been really any factual proof that anything that Q has said has been predicted or has came true, I should say. I don't know. Again, this is something I'm not into or have followed too deeply, but it just seems like from the things that I have read and have seen, everything is really vague. And yeah, I'm not really into that. But let's take another bong hit and get into it. Cheers. Let this one sink in the lungs. Ooh. And it did. Got deep into the lungs because barely any smoke came out. Damn. All right. So what else? More talk of sports. More talk of sports coming back. UFC is supposed to be happening May 9th. I don't know where. But again, I don't follow stuff too closely like that. The location might have been released, but I wouldn't be surprised if they're trying to keep it under wraps again and not really let that information out. But yeah, May 9th, we should be having a pretty stacked, solid card. We'll see what ends up happening. I know Dana White and the UFC as a company wants to get it done. They want the fights to happen. And I know they have kind of like a contract with ESPN and a mandatory obligation with however many fights they have to do within a year. I wouldn't be surprised if ESPN kind of alternates that, and you couldn't foresee this happening. I mean, you could have if you're certain people. Again, that goes back to the conspiracy theorist brain. But if we are to believe what the mainstream has presented, they couldn't have predicted this to be happening. And why would they still force UFC to put on all of their fights within the year? That just doesn't seem like it'd be right. I mean, who knows? Maybe these businesses are that cutthroat, but I feel like there would be some wiggle room and a way to make it work. So that's interesting. I know the NFL draft is supposed to be happening. That's supposed to be happening kind of just through like Zoom or through one of those platforms or something like that. So that'll be interesting. I have never watched the draft, so I'm not interested in that, but that's going on. They're going to be moving forward with that. So if you are into that, keep your eye out. I think it's coming sometime this week, later this week. Man, it already is kind of later this week. It's Wednesday already. So maybe tomorrow or Friday. I don't know exactly when it comes on, but I'm sure you guys know if you're into sports like that and you're into that. But I've never been into the draft and just never been a fan of college sports really to begin with. Just not my thing. Never been my thing. What else? WWE, they're still cruising along. Oh, kind of on that news. Kind of interesting. Rob Gronkowski, who had just signed with the WWE, kind of has a role with them as he was the host of WrestleMania, won the 24/7 championship, and I feel like was going to be setting up a storyline or something, but he got traded from the New England Patriots to Tampa Bay to join up with Tom Brady. That's as far as from everything I've seen, multiple sources, multiple places online, I've seen that. So that's interesting. Yeah, what does that do to his WWE career? We'll see, because I mean, that is interesting. Because they are filming in Florida. I don't know the state of Florida. I know it's big, but I don't know where Tampa is to where the Performance Center is. I really don't. So that could be interesting if, if he still is able to have some sort of role in the WWE. Maybe just be a manager, maybe be a hype man for Mojo, maybe do something where he's not being too physical, where he doesn't have to really take a chance and get hurt. And play out this year in football and then retire and come back to WWE. Who knows? So that's an interesting thing to pay attention to. The Rob Gronkowski thing. So yeah, he wanted to join up with Tom Brady outside of New England. It's interesting. Any other sports topics, news going on? Not really that I can think of at the moment. Yeah, I just we're just all kind of playing it by ear. Shout out to Lil Dicky's new show, Dave. Pib, I believe he called it. Play it by ear. If you've seen the latest episode, you would know what I mean. Pib. It's pretty funny. Or Pibe or something like that. It was something like that. Play it by ear though, the acronym. What else? Yeah, we're just kind of just gonna wait and see what happens with sports. And let me take this bong hit and tell you what happened last night, what I was watching on YouTube. So, got this Jack. Let's smoke, and then let's get into that. Cheers. All right. So, I got on like Twitter or something, saw that Bert Kreischer, Tom Segura, one of them, was going live on YouTube with the Comedy Store to do a benefit thing to raise money for the staff. Not like the headlining comics, but some of the staff, like the wait staff, the bartenders, and all that. They were doing a benefit to raise money for them, and they blocked out a whole hour for them. And I tuned in, and it was Bert Kreischer, Tom Segura, Theo Vaughn, and Joey Diaz, and I was like, oh shit. So just a good group of people right there. Just some funny people right there. And just listening to them do their thing, having fun. I got up to make some dinner, so I stopped paying attention for a minute. My dad starts busting up laughing. I look up, and Joey Diaz has his fucking balls out on YouTube. And, oh man, it was funny. And then a couple minutes later, Tom says, oh, we just been banned or taken down from Twitch. But they were still going on YouTube, man. And, wow, that was just, if you were watching, you know what I mean. You know what you saw. And, that was just, that was hilarious. I was just in the kitchen making dinner, heard my dad laugh, and looked up, and there was just Joey Diaz's balls just right there on the screen. And everybody was just cracking up. Man, that was funny. They ended up raising a good amount of money during that hour. I want to say like 40, 50, 60 grand, somewhere around that range from what I heard from Tom Segura there at the end, which is awesome. And, they were just continuing the benefit throughout the night, and I didn't watch any more of it, but I tuned in and saw those four guys, and that was a good time. Those are some of the podcast guys that I listen to. Not all of them right there, but those are a good main four. I keep those four in rotation for sure. Each one of them has their own style, their own type of humor. They each get me to laugh for different reasons and in different ways and different situations. And all of those guys are good ones for sure. But I'm sure you guys all know that. So yeah, that's about it. That's where I'm gonna leave it. So thank you, everybody. If you're still listening, make sure to like, share, subscribe. And until next time, everybody, peace.